All right, so welcome to this deep dive, and we're tackling confidence today.
Yeah, always a good topic.
Yeah, I think so. And it's something that we talk about all the time in the self-improvement world, and we're diving into a YouTube video today by Tam Kaur, and I thought it was really interesting because she kind of lays out her journey of going from shy to outgoing.
Cool.
So I think she's a great example of somebody who's actually, made that transformation and walked the walk, so to speak.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can glean some good advice from her.
Awesome. I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing that I thought was really interesting was her kind of distinction between external and internal confidence. And, I think a lot of us, when we think about confidence, we kind of think about that outward projection, like that person that walks into a room and everybody's like, oh my God, look at them.
Like that person that just commands attention.
Yeah. They have like swagger, they have the clothes, they have the,
They've got it all together.
Yeah, and they can speak well and they just have this way of carrying themselves.
Right.
So she calls that external confidence.
Okay.
And, I think there is some value to that.
Right, because, it's like that's kind of the first impression, right?
Yeah, and she even talks about, I think it was Amy Cuddy that wrote that book, Presence. And she talks about power posing and, like there is something to be said for that.
For sure.
But I think her point is that it's not enough to just master the external, like it can be a good starting point, but if
Right, because it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a deeper issue, right?
Yeah, it's like you might have a really nice facade on a house, but if the foundation is weak,
exactly,
the whole thing is going to crumble.
It's not gonna stand the test of time.
Exactly. So true confidence has to come from within, and that's what she calls internal confidence.
Okay.
And that's about self-trust and knowing your worth.
Yeah.
Regardless of external validation.
That's a good point.
I thought her example about Instagram was so relatable.
Oh, what was that?
She said that, I think a lot of us have been there. Like you take a picture and then you're like, okay, I've got to send it to the group chat. What do you guys think?
Oh, my God.
Right. Like, should I post this? Should I not post this?
And it's like, well, why are...
And she was saying that she used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
She needed her friends' approval
Right.
before she could post anything.
But, it makes sense, though, right? Because it's like, especially in the age of social media, we're so conditioned to, like, seek that external validation.
Yeah, it's like the likes.
Yeah, it's the likes, it's the comments,
Yeah.
it's, how many followers you have.
And I think what she's saying is that when you choose to trust your own judgment and say, like, this is a great picture, I'm going to post it.
Yes.
Or this is what I want to say, and I'm going to put it out there.
You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah. You're like sending a message to your subconscious.
Exactly.
Right. You're like, hey, I'm worthy.
You're telling yourself that your opinion matters.
Yeah.
That you don't need permission.
My opinion matters. I'm allowed to express myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that can start to, like, translate into other areas of your life. Right?
Yeah.
Like that confidence that you build in one area can start to bleed into other areas.
For sure.
And that's like where the real magic happens, I think.
Totally. So the next thing she talked about, which I thought was really interesting, and I know this is something that's kind of a little bit controversial, I guess, but affirmations.
Yeah, affirmation.
Yeah, there's like, on the one hand, they're like super trendy right now, right? Like
everybody's talking about affirmations.
Yeah, everybody's talking about affirmations. Like, you've got to...
Vision boards, affirmation.
Yeah, vision board.
Manifestation.
Manifestation, right. And then you've got the other side that's kind of like...
The skeptics.
The
eye rollers, yeah.
Like, does this stuff really work?
Yeah, is it just woo-woo?
Right. Is it just like, repeating positive phrases to yourself? Like, is that really going to change anything?
Yeah.
So I was curious to hear her perspective, and, she acknowledges that they're not like a magic wand.
Right.
Like, you can't just say, I am confident 100 times.
And then poof, you're confident.
And all of a sudden you're like, like strutting down the street.
Exactly.
But I thought her perspective on how they can be effective was really insightful.
Okay.
She basically sees them as a way to reprogram our inner dialogue.
Right.
And so to kind of combat that
negative self-talk.
That inner critic.
Yes, the inner critic. We all have it.
That voice in our heads that's always telling us we're not good enough.
Yeah, you're not thin enough. You're not smart enough. You're
like
not
this enough. You're not
enough, basically.
Right.
And so she's saying that like affirmations are a way to kind of like replace
Right.
that broken record
It's like rewriting the script.
with a new empowering soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of listening to that same old,
Same old tape.
yeah, that's been playing on repeat,
Yeah.
you're choosing to focus on these
On these positives.
positive, empowering statements.
Yeah.
And she suggests, like actually getting really specific with them too. So it's not just like
Not just generic
statements
Yeah,
like I'm happy.
Yeah, but like really addressing those like deeply rooted beliefs.
Right.
So, like if you have a fear of public speaking, you might say something like,
Oh,
I am a clear and engaging speaker.
I like that.
Right. Like, and so it's really about like intentionally planting those seeds.
Planting those seeds of self-belief.
Then nurturing them.
Yeah, and the more you repeat those positive statements, the more they start to like seep into your subconscious mind, right?
Yeah, and it makes me think about like how much of our self-doubt is actually like ingrained from past experiences or like negative messages we've
internalized over time.
And so this is almost like a way to start
to rewrite that script.
To rewrite,
to reprogram your brain, essentially.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's not just about like changing your thoughts. It's actually like changing the neural pathways in your brain. Neuroplasticity shows us that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our experiences and our thoughts. So by consistently like engaging in this positive self-talk through affirmations, you can actually like rewire your brain to be more confident and self-assured.
So it's like backing it up with
with the science. With the science.
Right.
Yeah, there's actual like physiological changes happening in your brain.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so affirmations are kind of like the groundwork, right?
A foundation.
But she's not saying just stay there.
No.
You've got to take action.
Yeah, you've got to walk the walk.
Yeah, so this is where the portfolio of proof comes in.
Okay, tell me about that.
So this is about actually like going beyond just thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah.
And actually
doing things
that
challenge yourself.
Challenge yourself down. Yeah.
Right.
So like actually accumulating evidence to disprove those limiting beliefs that are holding you back.
I like that.
So it's like
gathering data.
Yeah, it's like each experience becomes a data point.
Yes.
In your favor.
Right.
That's showing you like
you're actually capable.
Hey, I can handle this.
Yeah.
Like I'm more
resilient
than I thought.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
And she shared an example about how she used to be terrified of attending photo shoots.
Yeah.
Like the thought of being in front of a camera surrounded by professionals.
I could see that being intimidating.
Would fill her with anxiety.
Yeah, I mean it's like you're putting yourself out there for judgment.
You're so vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she said, but she would force herself to show up, even though she felt those nerves.
Yeah.
And she said, the more she pushed herself to step outside of her comfort zone, the more those fears started to dissipate.
So it's like exposure therapy almost.
Yeah.
Like you're exposing yourself to the thing that you're afraid of. And over time, you realize that it's not as scary as you thought it was.
And each time you navigate that
situation,
your portfolio of proof,
right? Like evidence
that you can handle it.
You can handle it.
Yeah.
And so over time, that starts to
shift your self-perception.
Yeah, you start to see yourself differently.
Right.
Right. You're like, oh, I'm not this scared little person. I'm actually
capable. I'm strong.
Of
I can do hard things.
Doing hard things.
Yeah, exactly.
I can step into uncomfortable situations and
thrive.
Yeah, and thrive.
Yeah.
So that portfolio of proof seems like a really key
ingredient.
Yeah, like a key piece of the puzzle when it comes to developing that unshakable,
that inner confidence. That inner confidence, it's about taking action consistently, even if it's baby steps.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be these huge leaps.
And just like proving to yourself.
Yeah, proving to yourself.
Hey, I'm capable of more than I think.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about external versus internal confidence.
Yeah.
We've talked about affirmations. We've talked about the portfolio of proof, but she doesn't stop there.
Right.
And she she goes into another fear that I think a lot of us struggle with, which is embarrassment.
Ah, yes. Embarrassment.
That feeling of being exposed, judged, inadequate.
It can be crippling.
It can be so crippling.
For some people.
And she actually has a really bold perspective on it. She says, and I quote,
Okay.
"Embarrassment is a choice."
Ooh, that's interesting.
It is interesting, right? It kind of makes you think.
That makes you think.
Yeah.
Like, where does embarrassment really come from?
Where does it come from? Is it really the situation that's embarrassing? Or is it our interpretation?
Right. Is it the event itself, or is it the meaning that we're assigning to it?
Yeah. So it's like, if we can detach from that fear of judgment, can we actually
Choose to not feel embarrassed.
choose to not feel embarrassed? Like, is that possible?
So she's saying, like, we have more control over it
Yeah.
than we think.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so she suggests this idea of like having a more playful attitude
Right.
towards embarrassment. Like
Yeah.
even a defiant attitude.
You like,
Like instead of being afraid of it, she's like, lean into it. Lean into it.
Yeah.
Like embrace the cringe.
embrace the cringe, okay?
I
Like,
can get behind that.
yeah, and she even talks about, like this idea of exposure therapy, but not in the traditional sense. It's not about like, desensitizing yourself to the point where you don't feel anything. Right, you just become numb.
Yeah, it's about like
we've all been.
intentionally putting yourself in situations that might feel awkward,
yeah.
embarrassing.
To kind of like reclaim your power over the experience.
Yeah, to be able to like
Yeah.
navigate those situations
Yeah.
with a sense of
With a sense of humor, with a sense of
self-awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she shares this really vivid anecdote about her early days as a YouTuber.
Okay.
How she used to be
Yeah.
terrified to vlog in public.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Like you're so
The
vulnerable.
thought of people watching her film would just like make her want to like,
Crawl under a rock.
hide.
Yeah.
And so she was like, but you know what?
Mm.
I'm not going to let that fear control me.
Okay.
So she forced herself to keep filming,
So for her.
even when it felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And she even, she had this mantra. She would say to herself, I have a right to take up space.
I love that.
I have a right to express myself.
Yeah.
And she would tell herself this, even if it made other people uncomfortable.
It's like she's giving herself permission
Yeah.
to be herself.
To just be herself.
Yeah.
And I love that, because I think a lot of us, we
dim our light
we're so afraid
of what other people are going to think.
of making other people uncomfortable that we actually
Yeah, we make ourselves uncomfortable.
end up dimming our own light.
Yeah.
And she actually flips the script and says, you know what? It's actually more embarrassing
Ooh,
to be inauthentic,
that's interesting.
to hide your true self, because you're afraid of what people are going to think,
I like that.
than it is to just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Like and own it.
Own it. Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
she's kind of like redefining
Redefining what's truly embarrassing.
what's truly embarrassing.
Yeah, because it's like, is it more embarrassing to be yourself, even if it's a little awkward,
Yeah.
or to like shrink back and deny yourself the opportunity to like fully express who you are?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I think I know what her answer is.
Yeah, I think we both know.
Yeah. She's definitely
Team authenticity.
team authenticity.
For sure.
Yeah. So we've talked about kind of overcoming that fear of embarrassment
Yeah.
and choosing to be authentic, but how does that
Yeah.
translate into greater confidence?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And she actually argues that true confidence is actually rooted in authenticity.
Okay.
Like that's where it comes from.
Hmm.
She has this bold statement. She says, real confidence is destroying the fear of being authentic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement.
And I really love that, because it's like she's saying, when you're truly confident, you don't need to pretend
To be someone you're not.
to be someone you're not. You're comfortable.
Yeah, you're comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to let your true self shine through.
And she kind of challenges this idea that like fitting in
Yeah.
is the key to happiness,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of us, especially when we're younger,
Oh, yeah.
we're so
We're so desperate to fit in.
desperate to fit in.
Yeah.
We just want to
Be
be
accepted,
accepted,
Yeah.
liked, and we think that's going to bring us happiness.
Yeah.
But she's saying, actually, when you're constantly trying to be like everyone else, you end up
Losing yourself. Yeah.
And it can actually lead to resentment and unhappiness.
Yeah, because you're not living in alignment with your true self.
Yeah, you might be. Surrounded by people, but you feel deeply unfulfilled.
Yeah, it's like you're putting on a show all the time.
Yes.
It's exhausting.
And you know, she even talks about how that inauthenticity can actually hold us back from attracting the right people and the right opportunities into our lives. She's like, when you're authentic, you attract people who genuinely appreciate you.
Yeah, they appreciate you for who you are, not who you're pretending to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those are the relationships that are truly fulfilling. Yeah. So it's like, okay, so how do we cultivate this authenticity?
Okay, how do we get there?
What are some like practical steps?
Yeah.
And she talks about like deep self-reflection.
Okay.
Like journaling.
Yeah.
Really understanding what makes you tick.
Yeah. What brings you joy? What are you passionate about?
Yeah. What are your quirks?
Yeah.
Your idiosyncrasies?
It's like creating a roadmap for your authentic self.
Yeah. And then like once you have that understanding, then it's about making choices.
Okay. That
align with that authentic self.
Yeah, even if they go against the grain or challenge societal expectations.
And that might look like, I don't know, wearing bright colors even though
they're not in style.
Yeah,
or expressing your opinion.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the popular opinion.
Yeah, and it's about surrounding yourself with people.
Right, who support you, who encourage your authentic self.
And encourage that authentic self. So it's like, you know, it's both this inner work, but it's also like being really intentional.
Right.
About
the company you keep.
The people that you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
And
the environments you put yourself in.
Environments that you put yourself in, yeah.
Because, you know, the people we spend our time with, they really can have a huge impact. On our confidence and self-belief.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're surrounded by people who are constantly judging you, criticizing you.
It's going to be so hard.
It's going to be so hard to embrace your authentic self.
To be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you find those people that love and accept you unconditionally.
Yeah.
It's like it creates that safe space.
It creates that safe space for you to explore who you are.
Yeah. And she believes that when we embrace authenticity, it naturally leads to greater confidence.
Because when you're living in alignment with your true self, you no longer need to seek validation from others. You find your worth and your strength within.
So it's like that validation comes from...
It comes from within.
Within.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
It's a powerful shift.
It's a really powerful message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, true confidence.
Yeah.
It's not about conforming.
Yeah.
It's not about trying to be someone you're not.
It's about embracing.
It's about embracing who you are.
Yeah. Flaws and all.
And
letting your unique...
light shine.
Yeah. I really resonate with that. I think that's so powerful.
Me too. I think that's such an important message, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
Where we're constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be, how we should look, what we should achieve.
It's so easy to get caught up in that.
It's so easy to lose sight of our own unique voice amidst all that noise.
Yeah, and I think that's what she's really encouraging us to do is to
tune out the noise.
Tune out the noise.
And tune into our own inner wisdom.
And listen to that inner voice. Yeah, I love that. So, I mean, we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
And I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Me too. This is great.
So we've talked about external versus internal confidence. We've talked about the power of affirmations, building a portfolio of proof, overcoming the fear of embarrassment, the importance of authenticity.
Authenticity, yes.
But she has one more really powerful insight to share, and that's about the connection between confidence and self-love.
Ooh, self-love, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, and I think this is something that, like, gets thrown around a lot these days.
It does. It's like a buzzword. Self-love. Self-love.
But what does it really mean?
But what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
And how does it relate to confidence?
Mm.
And she offers some really like insightful answers. She starts by saying, you can't be truly confident without truly loving yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does, right? It's like,
if you don't love and accept yourself,
yeah.
how can you expect others to?
Yeah, how can you expect others to?
And how can you feel confident if you're constantly putting yourself down?
Right. And so she makes this crucial distinction between experts.
She makes this crucial distinction between...
Yeah, between conditional self-love and unconditional self-love.
Okay, what's the difference?
So conditional self-love is based on achievements, appearances, or external validation.
Right.
So it's like that, that kind of love that says, I'll love myself when I lose weight.
Okay.
I'll love myself when I get that promotion.
Right. So it's contingent on meeting certain conditions.
Yeah, on meeting these conditions. And it's like, it's so fleeting because those external factors are always changing, right?
Exactly. It's like building your house on sand.
Yeah.
It's not a stable foundation.
Yeah. And she's arguing that, like, that kind of love is just not sustainable.
It sets us up for a cycle of self-doubt and insecurity.
Totally.
Like we're constantly chasing that external validation.
Yeah.
Never feeling truly worthy or good enough.
Always feeling like you're
falling short.
Falling short.
Yeah.
So then unconditional self-love is about accepting yourself.
Okay.
Flaws and all.
Right. So it's about recognizing your inherent worth.
Yeah, regardless
of your achievements, your appearance.
Yeah, your circumstance.
All of that.
Yeah, it's like you are worthy.
Worthy of love and belonging simply because you exist.
Yes.
Not because of what you do, what you achieve, what you look like.
Exactly. And she gives these examples of, how she used to only feel good about herself when she had achieved something, like getting good grades or going to the gym.
Right.
But then when those things weren't happening, she would, like, her self-esteem would just plummet. And I think that's such a common pattern, right?
It is. We attach our worth to these external factors, and then we're just on this roller coaster of self-esteem.
Totally.
Based on whether we're meeting those conditions or not.
And so now she's like, really trying to cultivate this unconditional self-love. Like, okay, even when I make mistakes, even when I don't.
Even when you're not perfect.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm still worthy.
Still worthy of love.
I'm still deserving of love. And
it's a practice.
It's a practice.
For sure. It requires conscious effort and self-compassion.
Yeah. It's like choosing to love and accept yourself even when it's hard.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she believes that this is the foundation for true
confidence.
Lasting confidence. Yeah. Because when you
love and accept yourself, you're less likely to
you're not seek validation
from others.
You're not as affected by criticism or rejection.
Yeah.
You know your worth, and you're not afraid to let your light shine.
You know your worth.
Yeah.
And that just like really hit home for me because I think a lot of us struggle with this conditional self-love.
We're so focused on achieving, proving ourselves.
Yeah.
We forget to just like love and accept ourselves as we are.
As we are right now.
Right now, warts and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a really like important.
It is. It's a big shift.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
But it's a shift worth making.
And it's a journey.
It is a journey.
It's not like a destination, You don't
just arrive at self-love and then you're done.
It's
an ongoing process.
Constantly evolving.
Yeah. It's like any other relationship. Yeah. You got to nurture it. You've got to tend to it.
Yeah. You've got to, work on it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've covered
a
lot of ground.
Yeah.
In this deep dive. Mm-hmm. External versus internal confidence, power of affirmation.
Building a portfolio of proof.
Overcoming the fear of embarrassment, importance of authenticity, and the connection between confidence and self-love.
A lot of good stuff.
And she has one final piece of advice that I think is really beautiful and thought-provoking, and it's about engaging in a conversation with your younger self.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and she says, like, close your eyes and imagine your younger self standing in front of you.
I like that.
And she's like, reflect on how far you've come.
Right, because we often get so caught up in
Yes.
focusing on how far we have to go
Yeah.
that we forget to acknowledge how far we've already come.
Yeah, we're always striving for that next goal. We're always
Yeah, always looking ahead.
looking ahead, and we forget to pause and appreciate
Yeah, take a moment to celebrate the progress
the progress. Yeah.
that we've made.
And she uses herself as an example. She's like, even though I haven't, achieved all my big goals yet,
Okay.
I've come a long way
Yeah.
from where I was just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants us to do the same.
Okay.
Take a moment to reflect.
Reflect on our own journeys.
Yeah.
Celebrate those small wins along the way.
And even imagine your younger self.
Yeah.
Seeing you now.
And feeling proud.
I mean,
yeah.
wow, I can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
Look at you.
It's such a beautiful way to cultivate gratitude
Yeah.
and self-compassion.
And she believes that this
Yeah.
can actually boost our confidence because
Yeah.
when we
Yes.
recognize how far we've come, it reinforces
our belief
in our own abilities.
It shows us that we're capable of
growth and change.
and it kind of inspires us to
keep going.
keep moving forward.
Even when it feels challenging.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Because we're like, well, we did this.
We've overcome challenges before.
We could do it again.
Yeah, we've got this.
Exactly.
She also emphasizes the importance of cultivating an abundance mindset.
Abundance mindset. Okay, instead of focusing on what we lack.
Right, because it's so easy to get caught up in that scarcity mindset.
So easy.
Comparing ourselves to others, feeling like we're not enough.
Always looking at what's
missing.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's like, instead of doing that, focus on
what you have.
what you have.
Celebrate your strengths.
Celebrate your strengths.
Yeah.
Appreciate your accomplishments.
Yeah, your accomplishments, and be grateful for.
We're grateful for the opportunities.
Yeah, the opportunities that are coming your way.
It's about shifting your perspective.
Yeah.
From scarcity to abundance.
And she believes that this shift in mindset can have a profound impact on our confidence.
Because when we focus on what we have,
yeah,
rather than what we lack,
yeah,
we feel more content, more fulfilled, and that sense of inner peace.
Yeah,
it radiates outward as confidence.
Yes. I love that. So it's about this conversation with our younger selves.
Yeah.
Celebrating how far we've come and cultivating
that abundance mindset.
Yeah. It's a beautiful and empowering message.
It is.
It really is. And it's a good reminder that confidence isn't just about achieving external goals or
projecting a certain image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about
cultivating that deep sense of self-love, acceptance, gratitude.
And it's about recognizing that we're all
on a journey.
And every step we take. Even the missteps.
Are opportunities for growth and learning.
Yeah, I'm really grateful.
Me too.
For her insights. I think they've given me a lot to think about.
She's offered some really practical and inspiring advice.
Yeah, and I love that she's so open and vulnerable in sharing
your own journey.
It makes it
relatable.
And attainable.
Yeah, she's not like this perfect guru up on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
She's a real person.
Yeah.
Who's been through it.
Who's been through.
And come out the other side.
Yeah, and come out the other side stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm feeling really inspired to start putting some of this advice into practice.
I think her insights have the potential to be truly transformative.
Yeah, and before we wrap up
this
this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a challenge.
Okay, I like it.
What is one small step that you can take today to embrace your authenticity?
That's a good one.
Yeah, and it could be anything.
Yeah. Like from
wearing that bold outfit.
Yeah. To sharing your opinion.
To saying no to something.
Yeah. Saying
that doesn't align with your values.
Yeah, it's about taking those small but courageous steps toward living a life that feels true to you.
Because when you honor your authentic self, you unlock a level of confidence and joy that can't be found anywhere else.
And remember, You don't have to do it alone. Find your tribe, connect with people.
Yeah, find those people who support you.
Who celebrate your authenticity.
To celebrate that authenticity.
Yeah, and watch your confidence soar.
So go out there and be your brilliant, authentic self.
Yeah.
The world needs
your unique light.
Your unique light. And as we've learned from Tam Kaur, true confidence begins with embracing
who you truly are.
Who you truly are. So now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, what stands out to you the most from what we've discussed so far?
Honestly, it's the way all these pieces fit together, you know? Kaur doesn't treat them like separate things. It's more like they're all woven together to create like this fabric of real confidence.
It really is. It's like a tapestry. You can't just pull one thread and expect it to work.
Right. It's all connected. You can't just do affirmations without actually taking action.
Or be authentic without actually loving yourself first.
Exactly. It's about like weaving all these principles together.
It's a way of life. Totally. And it all comes back to self-acceptance, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kaur really emphasizes that true confidence isn't about being some perfect version of ourselves.
It's about embracing who we are right here, right now, with all the messy bits.
Warts and all.
Yeah, it's funny, you know? She even talks about cringe.
I know, right?
Like those moments we all have.
We try to hide them or pretend they never happened.
And she's like, no, just own it.
It's so refreshing.
She's giving us permission to be human.
Yeah, it's okay to not be perfect.
To laugh at ourselves.
To be a little weird.
To embrace the awkwardness.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you let go of that need to be perfect.
You finally feel free.
Yeah. Like a weight has been lifted.
It's such a relief.
It is. Which brings us back to that visualization Kaur talked about.
Talking to our younger selves.
Right. That one really stuck with me. Have you thought more about what your younger self might say about confidence?
I have, actually. And at first I thought she'd be super encouraging, you know.
Like cheering you on.
Exactly. But then I realized she might actually challenge me.
Ooh, interesting. How so?
I think she'd be like, why are you playing small? The world needs your voice.
Wow.
Stop doubting yourself and go for it, you know?
It's like they can see our potential so much more clearly.
Because they haven't been bogged down by all the expectations.
Right. They haven't internalized all those limiting beliefs yet.
And they still believe anything is possible.
Exactly. It's so important to remember that.
To tap back into that childlike wonder and possibility.
Remember that we're capable of amazing things.
And I think Kaur's story really proves that.
Going from a shy teenager to inspiring others to be confident.
It's such a powerful transformation.
It shows us that confidence isn't something you're born with.
It's a skill you can build.
Like a muscle you can strengthen.
With practice and intention.
And she's given us such great tools and insights.
A roadmap for the journey.
And it's not about becoming someone else or fitting into some mold.
It's about discovering who you truly are.
And then having the courage to share that with the world.
To embrace your strengths, your weaknesses.
To show up authentically.
Even when it's scary.
Because true confidence isn't about being perfect.
Or fearless.
It's about being self-aware and knowing your limits.
Having self-compassion.
Forgiving yourself when you mess up.
And having the self-belief to keep going.
To keep learning, keep growing.
To trust that you have everything you need to create a fulfilling life.
A life that feels true to you.
Exactly. So to our listener out there, as we wrap up this deep dive,
remember this. You are capable of incredible things.
You have a unique voice, a unique perspective, a unique set of gifts to share with the world.
Don't let fear hold you back.
Don't dim your light.
Embrace who you are and let it shine.
Cultivate your confidence and step into your power.
Because the world needs you.
It needs your authenticity, your brilliance, your courage.
And remember, you're not alone.
We're all on this journey together. Keep learning, keep growing, keep believing in yourself.
And keep shining.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into confidence. We'll be back soon with more insightful conversations and inspiring ideas.
Until then, take care.